Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. To start things off, this is news that is everywhere news. Whale Alert, the blockchain analytics company that is known for informing the cryptocurrency community when big amounts of BTC and other cryptos move, has concluded that Satoshi Nakamoto mined around 1.12 million Bitcoin. Whale Alert claims this study has made what is the most accurate estimate of the number of blocks mined and Bitcoin owned by Satoshi Nakamoto. The study concluded that Satoshi mined up to block 54,316, and the total value of the fame stash is now around 10 billion US dollars. To come to the conclusion, Whale Alert deployed Sergio de Main Lener's extra nonce method. Sure, according to Whale Alert, the extra nonce method illuminates a pattern that reveals the actions of Satoshi, an early and prolific Bitcoin miner identified by Sergio. Whale Alert explained in 2013, Sergio Domain Learner discovered that there was a distinct pattern visible in the extra nonce value in the Coinbase transaction. Confused? Me too. The study also shows that 22,503 of the first 54,316 blocks that were mined by Satoshi, and that the goal of the early miner was to protect the network from attacks. They said, "We know for certain that Satoshi was operated by Satoshi because its pattern emerges at the very birth of the network, and it mined the block that created the Bitcoin sent to Hal Finney." Lerner found additional proof for his claim in the nonces, but his difference in the extra nonce of the blocks mined by Satoshi miner, the last byte of the nonce was always within the range of 0 to 9 or 19 to 58, whereas all other miners used the full range of 0 to 255. The news is that people have calculated Satoshi's Bitcoin net worth. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, many years ago, the idea was, and the speculation had been, that Satoshi Nakamoto, either the person or persons who are responsible for creating Bitcoin, had started to mine Bitcoin. And in doing so, because it was at the very beginning when you were able to get, I believe it was 50 Bitcoin per block. I think that's what it was. And there was also no resistance on the network, so you could... That's why that guy had 10,000 Bitcoin to give away for pizza. That, of course, or the idea was that Satoshi had been mining a lot himself, but no one really knew exactly how many Satoshi had. And then the speculation number ran to around 1 million. And then sometime around 2012, 13, 14, a lot of discussions as to if, because Bitcoin had passed by 1,000 US dollars per coin, as to if Satoshi Nakamoto would at some point dump his coins onto the market. That's kind of not an urban legend at this point, but it's kind of like so the news was, and I guess is, that they've accurately, if you will, have figured out the amount of Bitcoin that Satoshi owns or has. A lot of these coins are believed to be kind of lost and gone forever. Or, as the myth goes, Satoshi does not want to damage his or her or their creation, and therefore will never touch these coins, which then also leads us to the other discussion of how many coins are once again actually circulating around. If there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin, or we're not going to hit that number until the year 2140, we currently have 18.4 million, around 6 million lost, and then people have found calculatedly, not a word, that Bitcoin, or rather Satoshi, created 1.1 million Bitcoin and is in possession of them across multiple wallets that are also probably not going to be moved. Then how many Bitcoin are actually circulating around there? There was a lot of fear. I mean, a lot of fear many years ago that these coins would be dumped onto the market, and this was one big get-rich-quick scheme. However, I guess the calculation finding of these number coins has set the internet ablaze, abuzz. Bzz, everyone's losing their minds over what could possibly happen with these coins. Probably nothing. That is the most realistic answer that you're probably going to get. I'm sure many others will probably hype this news to make you think that something insane is about to happen. No, No. Yeah, this is your news that's everywhere news. This is popular, as it were. And just thought I'd let you all know that they figured out that Satoshi is an 11 billionaire. But the question then goes, do they even have access to these coins? And if they do, will they sell them? Anyway, that's the Bitcoin Satoshi fortune whale alert discovers money. Satoshi Nakamoto $1.111 billion worth of Bitcoin news. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, for some reason, because this year doesn't make any sense, the tech sector continues to drive market optimism despite the rising number of 19. Amazon has been the biggest beneficiary of government lockdown as the platform's consumer spending has surged 60%. Wow. Year over year since the end of April 2020. My goodness. The U.S. stock market started the week on a positive note with the Nasdaq Composite gaining 2.5% by closing on the day, and the Nasdaq index was trading at 10,767. With Monday's rally, there was boost significantly. Who wrote this? That was boosted significantly by the tech sector. The Nasdaq index was trading 20% higher year to date. Mega long story short, for some reason, stocks are still pumping. No one knows why. A lot of question marks in the air. This one says the S&P 500 is surging towards a new all-time high. Will Bitcoin follow? Question mark. And this one says gold gains. Silver powers to a 4-year peak on Monday. All the other markets around the world are pumping. They're boosting. And the only thing that's not really moving, a slight bit, has been Bitcoin and the I'll say the top 10 within the cryptocurrency market, because everything else, many other altcoins have been moving, whether we know these movements are real or not. The point to be made is that they are indeed moving. Yes, stocks are up, regardless of how many new 19s there might be, and the news. And I'm not joking. The craziest part is that when you listen to financial news or watch financial news, however you decide to absorb your financial news, a lot of them continue to discuss that we are 4 days away from the end of those moratoriums, and it's expected that between 15 to 25 million people are going to lose their homes from evictions and or non-mortgage payments this week. And yet markets continue to go up. I would assume that gold and silver are probably going up or rising simply because maybe people in these markets really understand that things aren't actually going that well, and therefore this is why there's movement upward. It's just a really weird moment right now. I was watching a video like literally right before this, and there was a what was it? It was a video on, I think it was CNBC, discussing or talking about the actual, the thing that's happening on the 25th of moratoriums. And they had a guy on there, and this guy's like, yeah, the real estate market's doing really well right now. She's like, but things might, not be that great by next month. Yeah, it's a great time to buy. And I'm like, what planet are you living on? Like, where you're trying to, yes, because the first thing people who are going to be kicked out of their homes and can't pay their mortgages are going to do is try to buy another home. So, is this also right here? I think this also ties into it as well. Probably. It says, analyst predicts Bitcoin rally as exchange inflows hit severe lows. For those of you who don't understand that, or maybe were not here a couple of videos ago, a lot of people have been taking off their Bitcoin from cryptocurrency exchanges. There could be a number of reasons for this. It could be the whole not your keys, not your crypto, take it off of a cryptocurrency exchange. A lot of cryptocurrency exchanges have been announcing that they're going to have more stringent rules for people who have them on these exchanges, and you won't be able to take them off as easily. Or if you do want to take your own money off of these exchanges, you have to let them know in advance and or give your government ID, what have you, so on and so forth. And probably also the news that we had from Coinbase that they were working with the IRS, the DEA, and was it the CIA? It was one of those other 3-letter organizations, and they said that they were not sending out customer information. But, you know, when you have the CIA, the DEA, and the FBI, or whatever other letters are out there, working with Coinbase, you know, let's put 2 and 2 together. That's an assumption, though. So a lot of people, the news that we had last week is a lot of people are actually taking off huge amounts of Bitcoin, and the amount of Bitcoin that they expected to start flowing back onto exchanges as prices were potentially rising, has not actually happened, which means that there's a lot less Bitcoin circulating, as people are probably buying ledgers, securing their coins, what have you, so on and so forth. And because there's less Bitcoin on crypto exchanges, should there be a price movement, it will be a strong one, because there's less Bitcoin to be bought up by people on these platforms. This one says, Ripple price analysis, XRP to USD signals a massive spike on this bullish flag pattern formation. And this one says, this technical pattern suggests Bitcoin's 9K deadlock could soon be over. No one knows, of course, if prices are going to move. It does seem, I will say, a bit odd that Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets haven't really moved in the last 2 months. People are saying in the comment section, I saw people say that it is simply TA, and I don't understand TA. I mean, I'm glad I, skipped out on 6th grade because I just didn't make it that far in math. However, I think it's a lot more than TA. Throwing my hands up in the air because of everything that's been happening this year, especially not even economically, just politically, dare I say. Anyway, Nasdaq's up, S&P 500 is up, gold and silver are up, and the cryptocurrency market has moved up a smidge, but it's not really as far as we should have gone up in price right now. There are a plethora of articles floating around talking about that we are potentially at the end of this little sideways trend movement in Bitcoin's price, and that a major movement is going to happen. Will it be a major movement up? Will stock markets around the world simply crumble and explode, and then Bitcoin ends up following it because of the news that we constantly get about correlation? Who knows? That's the magical part of all of this, is that no one really knows. All these people smiling. Kind of a weird photo. Anyway, that's the Satoshi news. That's the stock market news. That's the housing news. That's the gold and silver news. And that is the cryptocurrency market price news analysis, technical pattern, Bitcoin deadlock news. Because I think, whenever it does happen, it's going to be a doozy. If we go up, it's going to be massive. If we go down, I am assuming it will be during a reality check for world markets, and you know how that goes. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Britain's finance ministry has proposed that the Financial Conduct Authority should have more control over cryptocurrency promotion. The UK's HM Treasury, who acts as the Ministry of Economy and Finance, said it might give the Financial Conduct Authority a free hand to monitor advertisements issued by unauthorized firms, including those related to cryptocurrency. As of today, finance companies that are not under the supervision of the FCA must get approval from any authorized firm to promote a financial product through advertising. However, the government hinted that this approach might not effectively filter out potentially misleading claims or even scammers. The Treasury's recent proposal will require authorized financial companies to get FCA nod before they greenlight an advert from unregulated firms. In this way, the British financial watchdog will have more influence on unauthorized firms. And then they probably just said exactly here what I just said over here. Sure, why not? This was also slightly popular news. I think it was popular because it shows that another government agency is trying to get control over the cryptocurrency market. This is in a way true. It's not untrue. It is effectively a light power grab to be able to say that should you release an ad for something pertaining to crypto, whatever way that might fall into their rule book, that you have to kind of go through them. The best part is that this probably won't affect you in many or any different ways, simply because if you are holding some of the top coins, they don't really need advertisement. Bitcoin doesn't need ads to gain adoption. Bitcoin needs world leaders to simply do as they're doing right now, and that is actually what gets people to get more into Bitcoin. So I assume any cryptocurrency advertisements that we may potentially be seeing in the future will come from DeFi. Nope, that doesn't work at all. I was also going to say from DeFi platforms, but they're supposed to be decentralized. So if they had an ad, that would mean that there's a company attached to them that has a central office, which would then in turn show centralization. So who knows? It could be something as simple as PayPal trying to show Bitcoin ads or something like that. I mean, sure, any way that they can try and make money, go for it. I think governments are really trying to figure out any way that they can get a slice of the pie, realizing, you know, I can only imagine how many discussions have been had behind the scenes of governments trying to figure out if they themselves could actually get transaction fees from Bitcoin themselves. Like if they themselves could actually absorb those fees and circumvent miners. I can only imagine all the discussions. Anyway, sure, why not? Here's the actual proposal right here. It says proposals to strengthen protections around promotion of financial products and crypto assets published. Why not? Go for it. I mean, in the future, the strongest cryptocurrencies won't actually need any type of promotion themselves. So get your money any way you can, because, you know, times are running out. Also in popular news, Japan's central bank, the BOJ, or the Bank of Japan, confirmed on Monday that it has created a new division to research and study the issuance of digital currency. Colloquially, the digital yen. The development follows days after Japanese parliament members called for increased participation for digital assets and central bank digital currency research. Local publication, Mainichi, said earlier today that the Bank of Japan's new digital currency group will work under the bank's Payment and Settlement Systems Department. 10 team members have been allocated to the division. They will be headed by Akoi Okuno, a senior official at the department. This group takes over from a digital group. I'm tired of reading. So, yes, the Bank of Japan has created something that we assumed that they were going to create, because they're trying to find as many. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, these things are going to continue popping up. I think a lot of people get really riled up or interested. I don't even know. There's tons of news all the time whenever China does something or Japan does something or this bank somewhere does something. I'm like, of course they're going to be making all these new divisions and stuff like that for them to be able to say that they have control over the market, or that they have some type of influence over the market, or that they're going to be doing something particular within the market themselves. Sure. Why not? A lot of this has to do with, I assume, the assumption that they're going to be creating their own central bank digital currency relatively soon. In 2018 and 2019, Japan said, no way, Jose, we are not going to be creating any type of central bank digital currency. And then lo and behold, now they're kind of obsessed with it, because I'm pretty sure they see what the countries next to them are going to be doing, and therefore they're just simply trying to follow suit. This is all a power grab. That's not a tinfoil hat thing. It's just realistically what's happening all across the entire world. They know that we are moving to a more digital future. If you haven't seen the way that the world works right now and how it's becoming hyper digitized and hyper mechanized and robotics and all this other stuff, then I implore you to check the internet. It is at your disposal, because this stuff is actually happening all over the place. And yeah, not really much more to say about that. But of course, they created a new division because they're going to create their own central bank digital currency. And I'm pretty sure most of these countries already have them. Now, speaking with my friend, he disagreed. I'm going to assume after all this talk about them doing these things, they probably have them already, but are just testing them amongst themselves. Not half a joke. So it's just a matter of when they, hit the streets. Why did I say it that way? All right, let's move on. And to finish things off, a recently tabled South Korean tax bill proposal has proposed a 20% tax on capital gains arising out of crypto trading. The proposed exorbitant tax bill, okay, is sending shockwaves through the country's crypto corridors. Listen, I'll backtrack that right now. 20% is a number, but it's not a high number. Raise your hands if you were telling me in 2018, didn't France have like a 45% tax rate? And wasn't there another country that like proposed a 60% tax rate? And listen, I have friends who live in the States, and they told me that their tax rate is around 30% for their state and federal put together. So 20% probably is not, that bad. But it might also be like a short-term capital gains, because there's a difference between in many places around the world, if you hold something for a short term, usually less than a year, or longer term, almost knocked my microphone over, longer term, then it usually tends to go down. The bill, discussed by the South Korean private sector members, aims to tax capital gains earned by cryptocurrencies if approved. The 20% crypto gains tax will be amongst the highest in the world. South Korea has been enacting legislation to regulate the crypto sector and also bring it transparency. South Korea, the government is fast regulating cryptocurrency, classify crypto as goods, capital gains, trading, once sold, mechanisms, words, transactions, South Korea. Cool. Why not? This was also, sure. Stop it. We all know at this point that governments are trying to figure out any way to continuously make money, even when they're, printing to infinity. So should we be surprised that a country that has worked the way that it has for a while is trying to tax people who are dealing in crypto? No. Is the number high? A little bit. But then you kind of get into that discussion. Some people don't want to be taxed at all. And then you have, would you prefer a 15% tax as opposed to 20? Would you like a 7% tax? And then, getting into that whole discussion. So why not? Kind of thing. I myself am not in South Korea, so it does not particularly affect me, as it were. And many other countries are going to continue doing this. So why my English is not here today. I think I say that every video, but I think it's also true. I've noticed a lot of times when I talk in English, it's just not there anymore. Maybe it's anyway. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Like that segue there is very awkward. Bolero Bastos, Crayola Michelle, URL, On Crypto with Lionel, Tigara Macho Nisa, Bake Me a Cake, ArfMedic17, Anytime Fitness Monks Corner Staff, Bodie McBoatface, Yes to Crypto, Miller Hitch Test Every Day and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Minting Coins, Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangialavori, Paxis, Vlad the Impaler, Richie Rich III, Vlad, nope, said that already, Nick Kanaya, Setsuna, Damien, Crypto Artist, Goldie 3D, Bankroll Network, Crypto Joe 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Massive Ventures in Thailand, Moher Maroni, Adam Graysick, Todd Mullis, A Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Nostromo, John, nope, what's wrong with me? Martin Stoyer, Joshua Vineyard, Moonman High, XRP, Utopia 569, Oscar Maldonado, Yasha Harari, Attila the Han, David James, Navarro Williams, and Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel and anyone else who has supported the channel in any possible way. At the moment, the market's up, but it's like a weird up. Bitcoin is currently up by 1.38%. It is at $9,315 US. There was a spike in price and then a complete sideways, like an actual complete sideways over the last couple of hours. Who knows why there was a spike? I don't think anyone knows at all. I'm sure we're going to get some type of really weird news as to why there was a spike, but then the news also I would love to hear as to why there's a direct sideways line when it comes to the price. That is destructively stable. That doesn't even look real, how sideways this actual line is. Nearly every coin reacted to that jump. Chainlink is down 7. Listen, Chainlink has been pumping the last couple of weeks. So it's down 7%. It never even registered that jump up. Anything else kind of crazy? Cosmos is down. Also been pumping the last couple of weeks as well. A lot of the DeFi coins are down. They, were moving upward on a lot of hype. Ampleforth is also down 15% because we were talking about that yesterday as well. I think once you get further away from the top 20, the shockwaves of Bitcoin aren't as obvious anymore. We'll see what ends up happening as the day ends up going on. We've had so much talk, so much discussion, so many people, so many analysts talking about that Bitcoin is ready to make a big move. Sure. At this point, I think it is so far up in the air. I'm not expecting anything until August or until the 25th. But that may just also be my logic telling me that something is supposed to happen on the 25th. I was talking with my friend about the entire moratorium, what's it called? Evictions and rental payments thing happening on the 25th of this month. And I was like, logically, one would assume that the stock market would react quite heavily to the news that 25 million people have been kicked out of their homes. And these are the names of the people who are on the lease. And then also, you know, the 40 million plus other people who are still without jobs. And then I wake up and I see news that the stock market has gone up as we are on the cusp of one of the worst. I mean, we're already in the mud, and the mud stinks, and people just dumping manure on top of us. And for some reason, people are dancing in it, thinking that that it's a good time. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it for this video. We now know that Satoshi's super rich. I could have guessed that before as well. The Nasdaq and the S&P 500 are still up. I think they both have like record all-time highs like last week or something like that. Just no logic in the air. Gold is up, silver's up. People are predicting that every top coin is going to go up in price and start spiking, and people are going to start making it rain money and all that other stuff. And we're kind of just here. I'm here. So scratching my head because there's just not, I mean, I'd even accept a Bitcoin price collapse right now. Like, I'd really accept it because it would be some type of movement that would kind of get things going. But nothing happening for 2 months. Like, stop it. Think of all the stuff that's happened the last 2 months. It's been a lot. It hasn't been some things. It's been an enormous amount. And Bitcoin's price just hasn't moved at all. We've just happened to be within this tight trading range, as we know that all the Bitcoin are being bought up and they're being taken off of crypto exchanges, and people around the world, Argentina, Colombia, Lebanon, these people are buying up Bitcoin because they don't, I mean, it's a mixture of inflation, hyperinflation, and government currency collapse. Bitcoin doesn't move. It's a little weird, you got to admit. I do hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. I'm crazy. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.